Okay. Hello, everyone.
So I start off with the laser gun this time.
Okay. Okay. So, hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode. The title is When Unknown Beings Became People. And I have been thinking, I was thinking today actually, after the first talk of the day. I was thinking that on some deep fundamental level, everybody is an unknown being to themselves. That's like what being a child means. You know what's interesting? In the middle of the cosmos, there has come some sort of organized structure. Do you understand? Imagine there are intelligences looking for us, you know? Imagine, for example, a being that breaks a particle and looks at an atom, and that atom is like the size of our planet. Do you understand? We are some intelligent activity on some level of a cosmic existence which we can't see. Man. You know, really, guys, I'll be honest. This episode is pretty much me being like, what do I do as an unknown being with unknown beings in an unknown world? When I was younger, it was, what do I need to know to do something known with beings that are known in a world that is known? You know what I have realized recently? I have realized that nobody actually knows where they are. Do you understand? And what they claim to be their knowing of where they are is actually the unknown, Some scholars, some mystics say there's only one thing to know in this world. Religious people would say this is God, for example. And so really, guys, I don't have much to say this episode. It's just really, it was more, you know what it is? It's just an observation I have that it's like, what if we're all unknown? What if everything we're trying to do is for something that is unknown to know itself? In the Sufi tradition, they have the acknowledgement of, I don't know if this is authenticated or not, but there's this hadith, there's this saying, is this prophetic saying. And so the saying says, it's like from the point of view of God, and God is saying as if I was unknown and I created the world to be known. And imagine you created a world just for beings to know you, and once the beings are there, they're like, I don't know where I came from. Do you know what I mean? Like, it is not an idea that can be accessed properly if you have not accessed the idea of self. If you have not looked at how you're being a self, then whatever this self is affiliated to, it doesn't matter, right? You know, I've started this Inner Realms podcast thing, and I'm sending, like, you know, notable people, famous people, emails to interview them, to interview their imaginations. And it's very memorable, some of the responses I get back, you know, from notable people. You know, everybody seems to be waiting for an email. You know, this is the beautiful thing about our world. You know, nobody is ever that busy to see what significance is there to themselves. Nobody is busy for themselves, you see. They're busy for others. If somebody's like, yo, can you help me? It's like, buddy, I'm busy, can't you see? But then when you want to do something, it's like, what happened? You know? The world we're living in is an unknown place. Because it is an unknown place, we have built the fires of knowledge. And you know, more than knowledge being something written in the history books, symbols on a wall or a piece of paper, knowledge is experiential activation of the ability that allows us to get through this world. What that means is that, who are we living for? I have been asking this question so many times, and a part of me knows, obviously, but I've been consciously asking it. Who am I living for? Sometimes in these talks, you know, I even get intense and, you know, tell the viewers, who are you living for? You know, it's okay that the species doesn't know. It's okay the species doesn't know itself. It's okay, you know, individuals don't know themselves. And it's okay if the world doesn't even know itself, you know. When I was younger, you know, I realized everybody was kind of seeing, like, you know, how do you call it? Honestly, this was not, you know, this was later on. It kind of like was brewing when I was younger, this insight, right? And I was like, yo, the intent that turns manifestation into a position stable enough for it to acknowledge. Man, I gotta find new music. There are so many different human beings, and there's so many different outcomes that each individual can have, that really what we're suffering from is the inability to implement continuously. beautiful. Okay. So, what can a tired podcaster tell a species in the middle of nowhere? I can say that I am a human. And being human is a conditional existence, but it appears as a conditional experience, but our minds give us a sense that our experience of existence is way more free than our existence. Okay, and what I mean by this is right now in front of my eyes, my body's sitting in a car, you know, in front of using Starbucks Wi-Fi. You know, feel free to join the membership, guys. But if I was to envision myself suddenly hovering in the air, you know, and with white hair and kind of glowing white eyes, you know, and a black suit, for example, you know, sometimes in my inner realms, I've gotten different visions of myself, you know, in regards to the geometrical structure of my identity, right? There's been times where I felt like I was a geometrical being purely. There's been times where I felt that I am not a geometrical being, I'm purely a space being, right? It's kind of like when I was younger, I was like, yo, man, are you telling me my soul can go out of my body? You know, and people were like, yeah. But little did I know that I managed to get a different experience. I experienced my soul going out of mind. Do you know what that is? That's literally you become just world. Do you understand? We think that the creature, the self in the world is special to such a degree that we give it a transcendental narrative that it's body hopping between lifetimes. But what if what you are is the world and being a human being is additional? It's bonus. You understand? It's like, no way, I'm being the whole universe and a human being, you know. You know, I just had such a silly idea that if I find like, let's say I find my wife in the future, and then I'll be like, you know, it's like, where have you been? You're late. Oh man. Anyways, what can I say here? Let me actually pay attention here. So when unknown beings became people, what is a people? What is a person? Okay, a person is a constitution. That means something is holding you. You are a position. We are occupants of geometrical movement in the void. It's just so beautiful. I mean, what else could this creature do? You know, I mean, like, if there was no truth, can you imagine? Can you imagine what a waste of time everything would be? You know? There is definitely an intent. Do you understand? Whether it's the shape of a tree. Do you understand? Whether it's the shape of a human being, whether it's the shape of a building, whether it's a fence, whether it's a car, you know, whether it's a pigeon in the sky, whether it's the sky, whether it's the stars, everything that is existing to our experience is fulfilling a role for the overall meaning of the individuation in the moment. So what this means is we're actually lanterns in a dark room, and in this world treat the in a dark cosmos. And so every moment you're moving, you are illuminating in accordance to your past patterns, familiar patterns of the brain, the future. I think the most important trait to have is not being satisfied with efficiency and not being satisfied with inefficiency. I think these two sentences can be heard in different ways and are both important. Because good actions, what are we calling good? That which is efficient for everybody. You understand? When one human being destroys another human being, that's not efficient for everybody. It's like one human being has been suddenly left other people's lives, right? We are all part of each other's lives, whether we're enemies, friends, foes, whether we will never meet each other or we have already met each other. It's a world, dear viewers. The human individualization has made it obsessed with itself. Do you understand what it means? That means we're that part of nature that managed to separate from nature and then notice itself. But when we separated from nature, we didn't notice that. We noticed we were separate from it from the beginning. Because, there's some, strange schools of thought. I mean, of course, metaphysical, let's say esoteric schools of thought, but they have this consideration that actually the child is conscious in the womb. It's okay, don't worry about it. No worries. Wow. Forgive me, dear world. I have my flaws, and your laws remind me. The laws of the universe remind us. There's so many different beings here. And so, I might have been very ignorant just from my own world giving these talks, but at the same time, what can we do? We're here to communicate, It's like, is safety more important or discovery? And I would say discovery always. Safety is important, right? But not in the point where it's like an artificial safety, Pretty much something very strange happened right now, guys. You couldn't see it because I was giving this talk, right? But man, it was my... world. A reason I could be giving all these talks is not because I understand it, because I don't understand it. Somebody else. Something that's really good though, something I appreciate, usually when I was younger, my shyness and my introversion and all of that, I was like, what is this nonsense, right? Years later, I was like, what was that weird nonsense, right? But years later, I understood the value of it, that I was learning to endure myself. And then I was learning to endure others. And then I was learning to endure the world. And guess what? Once you can endure the world, you are enduring something never-ending. We are fearing infinity. We think it's divine. It's natural. Infinity is natural. Haven't we found it in nature? You know, guys, I'll come on Discord after this talk and explain what happened in the middle of it, where, you know, what the viewers heard, if they heard what was going on outside. I'll explain what happened afterwards on Discord or whatnot. Anyways, the species. Who am I? You know, it's like the species. The species is where it's at. And I can't find the nice song.
Hey, are you looking to 10x your real estate?
You know what it is, man? If the sages of long ago were born today, they'd be like, man, too many people are trying. Like, you know what it is? This world has an imbalance. Or let me tell you what it is. It's as if... Okay, whatever. I'm distracting myself here. For the honor of Civilization 2.0, let me focus here. When unknown beings became people. So what does this mean? What does the unknown mean? What does when or time mean? What does becoming mean? And then what do people mean? Or what is a person? Oh man. You know, when I narrate my situation of stalling, that's when I'm becoming really lazy. And these songs aren't helping, my God. Time. How stuff, how matter changes in space. How matter changes in space. and referenced by consciousness, referenced by emergent consciousness. I like that term, emergent consciousness, you know. It's kind of like we're dolphins and we're jumping up and out, you know, underwater, above water, you know, conscious state, unconscious states of being. And you know, the cool thing is we have to just sleep 8 hours of the day and the rest of it is conscious, right? We don't even live a 24 hours conscious day, right? And then we come to, what does the unknown mean? That's what it means. What does becoming mean? Something unknown, something known accesses a new known state. That's what becoming is. It could also happen through remembrance. That's like in mysticism. What do people mean, or what is a person? There we go. So what is a person? A person is like a known object here, known object that somehow can notice itself as a subject and move through unknown space, capable of experiencing both, capable of experiencing all of it. The weirdest thing about human consciousness is how it's being something, but how it's also noticing it's being something. And it's kind of weird, right? Because right now my biological sight is starting from my eyes, but if I close my eyes I can visualize 360. Do you understand? This is something the human species may have not considered before, but our senses, the 5 senses, they might not just be 5 senses. Each sense, imagine, has 5 senses of their own. So when unknown beings became people, is a suggestion, is the view that we are still those same unknown beings, but we have covered our unknown nature with known linguistic design. So what that means is that mankind, rather than, in some sense, I don't know how to tell you, rather than mankind, let me tell you what's going on. Is it fair to say that a young child is possessed by their parents? Is this a fair statement to say? I know possession has a connotation, you know, it has an ancient, like, bad connotation, you know, unnecessary connotation, and then there's a sort of modern kind of, I don't know, connotation to it. All I'm saying is that we're all dressed up, not in clothing, but also in language. I mean, there could be even nudists, but their minds are still clothed in language. The only person who was a nudist was a nudist in the inner realms was a renunciate. And you only need to renounce your mind if you don't understand how you use it. Similarly to someone who's using something, they don't know how it works, and then they put it down, they look at it from a couple angles, then they're like, okay, what if it works like this? What if it works like that? This is the main force of mind. Okay, I don't know what people are saying, what they think their imagination is, but imagination is endless effort towards what can be. What else can imagination be? Imagination is your access to the future. If somebody says, where's the future is not tomorrow. The future is experienced from that which is experiencing right now. So anyways, guys, I guess I'll take it there. And you know what, guys? I'm going to go for an intermission. I need a bit of a break. I'll come back for part 2. So this is the end of part 1. Thank you for listening.